You're sitting alone in a quiet room right now, or you will be soon. And within about 30 seconds, you'll reach for your phone. Not because anything happened, just because the silence started to feel wrong. You probably think that's a modern habit or a side effect of notifications and short attention spans. But the real answer is not that simple. Your discomfort with silence isn't new. It isn't even human. Not to mention, it's older than language, older than fire, older than your entire species. And it comes from a rule that used to keep your ancestors alive. Here's the rule. In nature, silence doesn't mean peace. Rather, it means something is wrong. Think about a forest. Generally, a normal, healthy forest is loud. Birds call, insects buzz, leaves rustle with movement. That noise is the sound of an ecosystem going about its business as usual, unthreatened. However, the moment a predator enters that space, the noise drops. Birds stop singing, insects go quiet, small animals freeze in place. The forest gets quiet because something dangerous just arrived, and everything alive in that space knows it. This wasn't some rare, occasional event either. For animals that lived their entire lives inside forests, grasslands, and river valleys, that sudden hush was one of the most common survival signals available, repeated constantly, generation after generation. It makes sense once you think why predators succeed in the first place. The big cats that hunted early humans, the leopards, the saber-toothed predators, the ambush hunters crouched in tall grass, none of them succeeded by being loud. Who's loud always loses. Silent predators eat. Therefore, every prey species that survived long enough to reproduce had learned in its bones to treat quiet as the loudest possible warning. Many ecologists have actually measured this effect directly. Biologists Liana Zanette and Michael Clinchy from Western University in Canada ran a series of experiments where they played recordings of predator sounds to wild animals, and then measured how the entire environment responded. The effect wasn't subtle. Prey animals didn't just flee, their whole behavior changed. They ate less, reproduced less. They spent so much energy staying alert that it alerted population numbers, all without a single predator ever making a kill. Zanette and Clinchy called this the ecology of fear. Danger doesn't have to attack you to control you. It just has to be nearby. And the forest going silent is how nearby gets communicated to everyone in it at once. What made their findings so important is that the fear itself turned out to be a stronger force than the actual predation. In one of their studies on song sparrows, simply playing predator calls near nesting sites was enough to cut the number of surviving offspring nearly in half, without a single real predator present. The birds spent so much time listening, freezing, and staying silent themselves that they simply couldn't raise as many chicks. Fear alone did all the damage. And sound was driving all of it. Now here's where it gets stranger. This isn't just true for birds and rodents hiding in the brush. Sound ecologist Bernie Krause spent decades recording natural soundscapes all over the world, and he documented the same pattern over and over. A thriving habitat has a dense, layered wall of sound, different species calling at different frequencies so they don't drown each other out. Krause called this acoustic niche partitioning, the idea that a healthy ecosystem sounds almost like an orchestra, with every instrument occupying its own frequency band, so the whole thing stays legible. But when a predator, a storm, or human interference interrupts that habitat, the sound collapses. The layers disappear. What's left is silence, or something close to it. And this describes evidence of a slow, quiet collapse happening when most people never think to listen for. The quiet is slowly ruining ecosystems, in dead silence. So if silence has meant danger for millions of years across nearly every terrestrial species, what does that mean for you? Before answering that, it's worth looking at what this meant specifically for your own ancestors, not just birds and rodents in the underbrush. For most of their existence, early human groups slept in the open. There were no locked doors, no walls thick enough to block sound. The only real defense most nights was a fire and a few pairs of ears staying tuned to the darkness. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer communities have noted that someone is almost always at least half listening through the night, even during sleep, and that the sound of the surrounding environment, insects, wind, distant animal calls, functioned as a kind of constant background reassurance. As long as the night sounded normal, it probably was normal. The moment that background hum dropped out, whether from the animals in the area suddenly going still, or the insects abruptly stopping mid-chorus, something in every sleeping body responded before the conscious mind had even caught up. Based on that, we can say that waking up in a full-body startle at 3 a.m. for no obvious reason wasn't something unusual. It was the system working exactly as intended. It means your brain never got the memo that things changed. Your nervous system evolved in exactly this kind of environment, tracking this exact kind of signal. For most of the time your ancestors spent on this planet, a sudden drop in ambient sound wasn't neutral information. It was the loudest possible warning available, precisely because it was silent. And the humans who reacted to that warning by tensing up, going still, and scanning their surroundings were the ones who survived to have children. The ones who shrugged it off didn't get a second chance to learn the lesson. That reaction didn't disappear just because you no longer live in a forest. It's still running in the background of your body right now. Walk into an unusually quiet room and notice what happens. Your shoulders tighten. Your attention sharpens. Some part of you starts listening harder than a moment ago, even though you're standing in your own hallway, and there's nothing there. That's not anxiety in the clinical sense. That's an ancient alarm system doing exactly what it was built to do, just firing in a context where there's no predator left to detect. And this is where the twist comes in, because you'd expect evolution to have solved this by now. You'd expect thousands of generations of city living, agriculture, and permanent shelter to have quieted that old alarm down. It hasn't. If anything, removing genuine danger from daily life seems to have made the discomfort worse, not better, because now the alarm has nothing real to attach itself to. It just fires into empty air, and your mind fills that empty air with something to explain the tension. Usually that something is your own thoughts. And it turns out most people don't actually enjoy being left alone with those. This is why silence in a modern building can feel heavier than noise ever does. It's why open-plan offices install ambient background hums instead of leaving rooms truly silent. It's why hotels play soft music in empty lobbies. Why elevators have that low mechanical drone. Why total silence in an apartment at 2 a.m. can wake you up faster than a loud noise would. Notice how many public spaces refuse to ever be fully quiet. Grocery stores play music nobody asked for. Waiting rooms run a television nobody's watching. Cities hum with traffic even at 4 a.m., and that constant low murmur, oddly enough, tends to feel safer than true silence does. A completely silent street at night doesn't feel peaceful to most people. It feels like something is about to happen. You're not imagining that discomfort, and you're not broken for feeling it. You're running original hardware built for a forest, dropped into a species of glass and concrete that almost never goes fully quiet. And on the rare occasions it does, some ancient part of you still assumes something is standing just out of sight, waiting to see what you'll do next. So tonight, when you're sitting alone in a quiet room and you feel that pull to reach for your phone within 30 seconds, you'll know exactly what that pull actually is. It isn't boredom. It's an alarm bell installed millions of years before anyone built the room you're sitting in, still checking the silence for a predator that, this time, was never really there.